Frederick of Denmark forced Mary Donaldson, when she was 4 months pregnant, to sign some very harsh new marriage contracts.It was a scandal at the time. Of course, it happened in Denmark, and what catches us a little farther back has less impact. Frederick of Denmark and his current wife Mary Donaldson were a fashionable couple. They already had one child and were expecting a second. Then an argument broke out. Queen Margaret's iron hand contributed to the daily lives of her son and daughter-in-law, and not for the better. Being 4 months pregnant, Mary was forced to sign new prenuptial agreements. Because? That's a good question. The princess gave up a lot of things at the behest of her mother-in-law and with the connivance of her husband. Obviously, it was a scandal. Now that Frederick of Denmark's name is on everyone's lips, since Lecturers magazine exclusively published photos of him with Genoveva Casanova, the past is coming back to the present. What was the Crown Prince's marriage to Maria of Denmark like these years? Well, not at all pleasant to look at. Although the shadow of infidelity and scandal hung over them, the Queen's son also did a lot of rough stuff with what is still his wife. One of the most famous was this surrender. We explain it, the terrible neglect that Frederick of Denmark forced his wife Mary Donaldson to sign. In the royal family, especially those called to inherit the throne, it is a logical tradition for heirs and their spouses to sign marriage capitulations. A way to protect the inheritance and ancestral property from possible future problems. Nothing new when it comes to royalty. What is much more surprising is that these capitulations change overnight when a couple is already established and expecting their second child. This is exactly what happened to Frederick and Mary of Denmark. As it was published at the time, when the princess was 4 months old, she had to give in and sign a new contract that was of very little benefit to her future in the event of a separation. Mary gave up the very high amount of compensation she was going to receive if the marriage was dissolved, calculated according to the number of years spent together and the economic situation of each member, and the fact that she would no longer be able to choose her future place of residence. In Denmark or abroad. The princess was left to the discretion of the royal family to determine where she would live in the event of separation, and saved enormous expense. Mary Donaldson would receive a monthly allowance from the prince's budget. The impact of this measure, taken when Donaldson was 4 months pregnant with her second child, was enormous. No one understood the decision made by Queen Margaret. What prompted you to do it? The reasons why Queen Margaret stopped her daughter-in-law Mary Donaldson from having a baby. The official justification was to prevent a repeat of an episode like that of Prince Joachim. The Danish royal house had paid a fortune for their divorce, and the Queen wanted to save on expenses. And yet it was strange. In the eyes of the public, Federico and Mary's marriage was perfect and solid. The couple already had a child and another on the way, and there was nothing to indicate that they might be thinking of splitting up. But what about privacy? What did the Queen suspect to hastily get her daughter-in-law to sign new prenuptial agreements? The motivation for this change was never revealed, but in light of what had happened, everything could have coincided. There were many scandals surrounding the figure of Frederick of Denmark. Alleged adulteries, controversial episodes and many rumors that made the heir to the throne an unpleasant presence. Perhaps something was going on in the palace that made the Queen stop her new daughter's aspirations. And if there was one thing she had made clear during her reign, it was that Margaret did not hesitate when it came to ruling her family. The scandal among the Danes was no small one. Accustomed to seeing Federico and Maria as the perfect couple, this public humiliation of the princess did not go unnoticed. However, the Queen managed to get her way, as has happened on many occasions. Now, after the photos of the prince in Madrid, the eyes of the whole world are once again fixed on the royal family of Denmark, the current situation of the couple Federico and Mary of Denmark. The photos of Frederick of Denmark with Genoveva Casanova have many meanings. For the first time on an institutional level. A private trip by the heir to the throne, apparently concealed even from his security service, put an important figure in Denmark in obvious danger. A precaution that was prevented in the best possible way, but which will surely have an impact on Federico's inner circle. But it doesn't end there. Rumors about the distance between Federico and Maria have gotten loud again. What is the current state of the marriage? Is there a possibility of a real breakup? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Queen Margherita's plans, however, were thwarted. The monarch, already of advanced age, was thinking of abdication in the person of his son, but of course, after what had happened, now was not the time to begin such a delicate process. Now it was time to wait. Mary Donaldson knows how to speak through her outfits, and the one she chose for her new appearance with her husband had much to say. After weeks in which silence and absence have been Mary Donaldson's 51 motto, she resumed her official commitments last Tuesday, to everyone's surprise. The Australian one presided over a gala dinner to mark the visit of Vietnam's vice president. An act by which she ended her imprisonment and concealed her desire to put behind her the scandal caused by the images of her husband and Genevieve Casanova strolling around Madrid. What no one expected was that just a few hours later, Frederick and Mary made their first appearance together at Amalienborg Castle. Of course, the reunion only and exclusively in front of the cameras of the royal house to avoid unpleasant moments and questions. It is worth highlighting the image that surprised Mary at the event. Given that it was a meeting with the Danish ambassador for climate, the Australian made a win-win bet, choosing a working girl outfit consisting of black palazzo pants and a pink blouse with a cross collar, lantern sleeves and a spectacular V-neckline. Was also chosen for a reason, a shape that evokes calmness and serenity, which is undoubtedly what Mary requires. The royal completed her look with a mini strap, which further emphasized her waist, and matching high-heeled shoes, which gave extra glamour and poise, as well as emphasizing the silhouette of the wearer. As for the beauty look, she opted for an understated makeup in pink tones, which managed to emphasize her sad look and give her lips a pop of color. Finally, she made her hair completely natural, without any jewelry. Mary Donaldson's working girl meaning. Feminine yet sober, Mary Donaldson wanted to reinforce her position as a professional, independent, strong and stylish woman. A comfortable and safe bet for the day when I knew that any gesture or movement would be looked at through a magnifying glass. It should be remembered that before becoming Princess of Denmark, Mary graduated in law and commerce from the University of Tasmania, and then expanded her studies with a master's degree in marketing and advertising. She left everything behind to live a storybook love story with Prince Frederick, a role that would lead her to become Australia's first queen. Distance and tension in Federico and Maria from Denmark's first performance together. Since the lecturer's cover traveled around the world, Federico and Mary have only made 2 public appearances in which they strongly defended the royal household. Although during the swearing-in of their son Christian constitution they did not hesitate to pose together, showing their union in the midst of a media storm, this time they failed to hide the tension between them. The couple's faces spoke for themselves, always serious, trying to show a normality that apparently has not yet arrived.